here on Broadway between 149th and 150th Street about 14 months ago, and I wanted to bring some attention to the gallery. So I asked some artists to paint birds to pay tribute to John James Audubon on the roll-down gates of the stores next to my gallery.
John James Audubon was a great pioneering American naturalist, ornithologist, and painter. He's very famous for painting Birds of America, which is 450 roughly paintings, life-size paintings that were printed on these huge prints. He became very famous in his lifetime, and he spent the last 10 years of his life living right in this neighborhood.
I was introduced to Mark Janot, who's my partner on the Audubon Mural Project, and he asked me if we would paint, instead of the 10 murals we originally had planned, but 314 bird murals of birds that are deemed threatened by climate change according to the Audubon Society's research.
The report itself has brought a tremendous amount of attention to this, plight of birds. I mean, what we found is that for 50%, or for half of all North American birds, by 2080, at least half of their current climate range will have disappeared or will have shifted to a different area. We don't know whether they'll be able to survive in those areas. When we came out with this a year ago, it was so shocking, and it's a way, I think, for people to get a different sort of understanding of the impact of global warming and climate change. It's, you see the bird in your backyard and you think that bird may not be here for my grandchildren. It's a very powerful presence. And so at the National Audubon Society, we understood that this was something that we couldn't ignore, and we launched a climate initiative, and we're looking to get the word out in as many ways as possible and get people to sort of take action on behalf of birds, but on behalf of all of us.
The way we find artists, it sort of depends on what we're painting. So we have roll-down gates, and for those we work with street artists. We also paint panels like the one behind me. So this is an example of something that allows us to work with studio artists. Since my background is in fine art, this gives us the opportunity to work with artists who are not comfortable painting on the streets. So we're working with all sorts of artists.
The global warming is a big issue, and people has to know and has to talk about it. And as an artist, I can give my message and try to sensibilize people. I love paint animals, and in the last few years I've been focused more in the whole climate change issues. I had the freedom to choose through many different birds. In this case, in my case, I decided to represent like a three-colored heron. I picked this one because I really like the color of the birds. I like the long neck, the long beak, and I think it's a wonderful animal.
Everybody's trying to tell a story, and everybody brings their own version and their own background. Very different kinds of paintings, like you have Cruz painting right now, and he's chosen to take this huge wall and just focus on one bird and on the theme of survival. And then you have someone like Lunar New Year, who painted 12 birds in the form of one bird. So I think it's really just a matter of artists taking artistic license and approaching it in whatever way they want. And that was an important decision that we made from the beginning, which was to allow the artists to express themselves.
In my composition, we have 3 birds. 2 are fighting for like the last piece of food, is a snake in this case, and 1 of the 3 is already under the water. The glaciers are melting down because the climate change, and those birds are going to sink down the water. I saw the other ones, and are really nice, and everyone is telling a different history with the same concept of endangered bird. I feel it's a very international project. There are so many artists working and coming from different countries. All of us working under the prestigious Audubon Society.
The Audubon Mural Project has many different sort of qualities or mission. You know, it's about connecting with the community here, but fundamentally it's really about bringing this message to a new audience, or as wide an audience as possible, in a new way.
The response has been overwhelmingly positive. It's very exciting for me personally, and I hope for the artists also, when we set up sometimes late at night after a store is closed. You know, when the gate goes down, we'll have tens of people, maybe 100 people walk by and say, "This is awesome, this is so cool." There's also, you know, there's a lot of positive energy because we're painting it here. You know, this is a neighborhood that's rich in history, but it's a neighborhood that tends to get a little bit overlooked in New York City. So it's really exciting to be a part of something that's bringing more art to Uptown Manhattan.
Working in the street is always interesting because you get the chance to talk with many different persons from the neighborhood. And in the beginning they were very curious about it, but they didn't get the point. And now that the design is keep going and it's almost done actually, people are really like it, and many of those want to talk with me, asking me questions about it, and they all like it a lot, and I'm making friends in this neighborhood actually.
Our focus is to complete the project here, to paint all 314 birds in this neighborhood, but we also, you know, we'd like to bring it to other parts, and actually we've been approached by other entities in New York City and outside of New York City to bring it over. So, you know, we do have some plans, which I'll share later, but for now, the focus is on Uptown Manhattan.